Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call us right now for more help at 866-945-8070.
The places that you might be.
Yeah. And I'll get all of them because I'm always everywhere, of course.
Try Israel.
Yes.
All right, let me start the live feed on Facebook. Well, that's a first in many, many years of doing this. Since Google Hangouts was in beta, this is the first time that's happened.
So while you do that, because I ran out of my cup of coffee, I'm going to get one more. So you guys just get rolling, and I will jump into the dance.
All right, perfect. Well, none of you can see me because the same thing that happened last week with my cameras going on. So
That's correct. Can't see you.
Jump on from my mobile.
Can you see the real me? Can you?
And I'm going to guess that I have a million Facebook messages from people wondering where I went. I see Tiffany Stewart for the first time in like 1,000 years.
Morning, Tiffany.
Wait, now I can hear you.
Tax season's killing me.
No kidding.
What's killing you?
Tax season.
Oh, of course it is.
It's the clients.
Yep. It's the visiting. So when the clients come, we have to catch up.
All right, we are like seconds away from starting here. The live feed is on Facebook. I'm posting it in the group. I'm going to join from my mobile, and we're going to get underway. Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to another live broadcast from Israel. Slight technical difficulty this week in the fact that I fell asleep. And hold on. And John is going to join back with us once there's coffees in hand.
My day is powered by 1.5 to 2 cups of Joe per day.
There it is. Well, being that I'm in the Holy Land, my day is powered by God.
Yeah. So the question is, which God? The ongoing debate of the Holy Land.
That's true.
You know, there is a podcast by this guy that does hardcore history. If you guys like history, definitely check his podcast out. One of the podcasts that he did was King of Kings. And it's amazing the history of the Fertile Crescent, of Assyria and Babylonia and the Medes who became the Persians and their relation to the Egyptians and the Israelis. And it's fascinating. I learned something unique. There's a guy named Cyrus the Great who basically put together the Persians into what became Persia. And he basically conquered everything, including Babylonia, who had imprisoned the Israelis and destroyed King Solomon's temple. And he basically, or King David's temple, I think. And then he basically freed them from Babylon after he conquered the Babylonians, and he gave them money to build Solomon's temple, which the wall, the Wailing Wall, is still part of. So historically, the Persians, if they had not freed the Israelis from Babylonia at that moment, who knows? And it's like something people don't even know. I mean, people don't even know who this guy was, let alone what he did. Because he was a great, compassionate leader back in the day. But anyways, hardcore history, King of Kings, listen to that podcast if you want to know the history of really the foundation of what happened in the Middle East.
Gotcha. All right, well, Sarah Prevost is usually our meeting scribe. She's the one who's best about taking notes about these things. So, Sarah, write that down for us, will you?
Okay. Gotcha.
I want to get, last week we had Kate Erickson on from Entrepreneurs on Fire. And if you ever watch their podcast, they claim to have the best podcast notes in the business. And I believe they're right. I want to start modeling this after how they do it, like just having really good notes on any resources mentioned and all the things. And because I know there's going to be a lot of.
I was having beers with John Lee Dumas a few weeks ago in San Diego. He is an incredible story, and I've been lucky enough to be on that podcast twice, which he rarely has anybody back twice.
Right. That's true, because it's the same set of questions, isn't it?
It is, but with me, he made an exception. It was really great.
Were your answers the same? Yeah,
no,
probably not.
No. You know, the thing is I think all of our stories evolve, right, over time. And if you keep telling the same story, then you become irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, like if somebody has just the same old canned message that doesn't change at all, it means they're not really tapping into who they are as a person. They're tapping into they're basically reciting a script that they rehearsed, and that's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of identifying opportunities and nurturing relationships, right? I've seen salespeople make that mistake where they're talking to a prospect, and instead of really thinking and engaging in the conversation, they're just basically reciting a script, a dialogue that they've rehearsed, and it's just the wrong way.
If you want to get a customer to fall in love with you, all you need to do is be prepared, ask them simple questions, and shut up and just listen. Let them talk as long as they want. The more they talk, the more they'll love you, because people want to be heard, and you will hear the things that you need to hear in order to truly address their needs and their pains. And then if you do address those things, as opposed to going through a product demo about how great you and your products and services are, then they'll love you and they'll buy from you. And I have a simple phrase for that. Stop talking about your products and services and start talking about how you can help somebody else be great, because they're not interested in your products and services. They're interested in how they might become better, smarter, faster.
Right, right. I always love to tell people when people ask me questions about how to handle a phone conversation with a prospect or even an email conversation, but more appropriately on the phone. When I get on the phone with that prospect and I'm having maybe that first or second conversation with them, my own famous last words are, ask the prospect a very simple, open-ended question. Because in our business, especially in the accounting business, John, a lot of people like to have these questionnaires. And they want to rifle through these questionnaires and just go down this list. And to me, that's robotic, and it's very impersonal and very cold. And so I always say to people, here's what you do. It's very simple. You get on the phone with the prospect, you get past the initial pleasantries, and you basically make one open-ended request of the prospect, which is, I always put it like this: tell me what's going on with your business. And then I say, and I take the cotton out of my ears and I put it in my mouth and I grab Evernote or something so I can take notes and listen to every word, so I can have them teach me what I need to do to help them, and then figure out what I need to charge them to give them the help that they need.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me what's going on in your business. That's such an open-ended question. They can start talking about their partner, their spouse, their kids, their whatever, right? But ultimately, that's the key thing that's on the top of their mind. And then you can dance with them to find out how you truly might add value.
Right, perfect. Exactly. And because they will sort of, in some cases, they start telling me about more than just their business. They tell me, well, especially in the accounting world, when they're coming to us for help with such an intimate part of their lives, their finances, a lot of times we can and we should get all the sort of insights into what's going on with their personal lives. How is whatever's going on? Because let's face it, whatever's going on in their business is going to, if not already, it's already impacting their personal lives. Right? Like, I love watching Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, and he gets into it with them because he's dealing with these family-owned restaurants, and they always get into the personal side of things. What's going on personally? Because it's usually families running the business together, and then the messes that sort of, come after that.
Yeah. And that applies to really any business to business or business to consumer situation.
Right. One thing I started doing recently, which I think is interesting, is when I added a new question to my questionnaire, which basically says, this is when somebody's already agreed to become a client, and they fill out the form on my website for all new clients. And one of the questions is, if you had an extra $1 million, completely discretionary, all expenses paid, what would you do with the money? And I love the answers that I get. And that's a technique that I learned years ago when I was working as a stockbroker that we used to use talking to prospects, because it was something where if we had an idea for something that we wanted them to get involved with later on, and let's say they said that with that $1 million they were going to buy a boat, I could call them back and say, hey, John, listen, I've got something I want to run by you, something I think I want to get you involved with, a new product, new idea for your business. I think it's going to help you get that boat you've been wanting. It's just something funny that you can use as a way of getting their attention when you have what you think is a really good idea for them that's going to help them, make more money or whatever it is.
Perfect.
So, John, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's been over a year, actually, because it wasn't last QuickBooks Connect. It was the QuickBooks Connect before that I had you come in and get on stage with me, which was so much fun and such an honor to have you there. Tell me what's been going on with Nimble for the past year. I definitely want to see what's going on with the product. I want to have you share your screen. I know of a lot of the new features that have come out. I'm sure there's stuff I don't know about. Love the I forget what you actually call it, but where I can look up somebody's contact information. I want to test it on some sort of top name people. I have yet to do that, and I want to do it in a video to show people. But now that you're here, why don't I have you tell us about that and everything else that's going on with Nimble and how to identify opportunities and nurture relationships?
Well, I think that what we've been doing at Nimble is really evolving it into being a simple layer that you can layer on top of your operating system of your business. And the operating system of your business back in the day was Novell. If you bought PCs and printers and hard drives, you needed something to tie them together and run applications on top. You bought Novell, and that tied it together. And then you needed applications that ran on top of it, and Goldline became the ubiquitous tool that not just sales and marketing people use, but everybody in the company used to manage relationships. It predated Outlook, and it predated Salesforce, and it was the place that not just salespeople lived, but everybody did to manage email, contact calendar, and sales and market automation. Fast forward to today, Novell in the cloud is Google. It basically started out as Gmail and now is G Suite. And you as a business, when you buy a domain and you set up a website, the next thing you need is email. In the old days, we got IMAP and POP. Today, we get G Suite or now Office 365. So that is the operating system of your business, the foundation, because businesses are built by the contacts they're connecting to, the conversations they're having, and the activities that they're driving. That's email, contact, and calendar. You can call that contact management, but it's really much more because you have the shared files and you have the word processing and spreadsheets. That's the foundation of your business. But every business needs tools that are unique to the particular department. So you have applications that specialize in sales, marketing, customer service, accounting, social media, etc. And you could call that, MailChimp, QuickBooks, whatever. And what we designed Nimble to do is to layer on top of that operating system, which the foundation is G Suite or Office. And then the next foundation is your accounting, your marketing, whatever tools you're using. Nimble has become that tool that unifies your contacts, your calendar, your email, your communication from all those platforms, not just email, contact, calendar, and social, but now over 100 SaaS business apps, because every business has contacts distributed in too many places. And what we do is we unify them into a cohesive system of record of relationships, a contact manager, and then enrich them with the people and company data that you need to understand who somebody is, what their business is about, and the last time you or the team ever had a communication with them. Because when you pick up the phone and you call American Express, they know who you are. They know the last time they talked to you. But you call most businesses today, and basically there is no unified system of record. There's no history of communication. They don't know who you are. You're in 5 different apps in their company, and we all need a relationship platform that crosses the boundaries of everybody in the company. And that is what Nimble has evolved into.
Right. It's the example I think of is over the years, and I've gone pretty much all in with G Suite, is even having gone all in with G Suite, I might have several different clients who have added me to their email account where they also use G Suite. So if I go into, for example, my LastPass app and I look up Google to see all the different Google accounts that I have logins for, I think there may be more than 10 of them. And the problem there is then I have the same contacts in some cases in multiple of those accounts, because I have the mutual contacts between myself and those clients or whomever I'm using a G Suite account for, a Gmail account for. And so if I try to use Google Contacts to call up a contact, I have 6 different copies sometimes of the same person. And if I look closely, because when this started happening, it took me a minute, but I learned that it was because my phone is logged into all these different Gmail accounts. And so I have a copy of that contact for every instance in which that contact, you know, sort of crosses over. That's when I actually started using Nimble as my primary tool for managing my contacts information, because there I can have just one copy of each contact and just say, here's all of their contact information. And of course, what I love is how Nimble then goes out to the internet and finds all their contact information for me. Anything I don't have is easy to get. And again, it's all in one place. So I especially love what you guys have done with the mobile app over the years, because that's what I need when I'm on the go. Is, you know, a lot of times all I really need the mobile app for is to be able to pull out a contact and say, hey, I'm on the road, I need to call this guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ultimately, relationships are key to your business success. And today, whether we're talking about an individual person, because Seth, you kind of operate as an individual, you're a solopreneur where you are kind of wearing all the different hats, but in some cases, there's multiple people that are part of that journey, that conversation. Whatever the case is, I think we all need a personal CRM, because your network is your net worth. Your personal brand plus your professional network is going to help you achieve your passion, plan, and purpose in life. And most people's contacts are basically some singular contact record that sits inside of their phone or their Google contacts. But if you look at a contact record, it doesn't have context or insights. Context is the history of interactions that you and the team have had on email, calendar, and social and other business apps. Insights is who are they and what is their business about. And so you have to go to all these different places to do that. But the beauty of Nimble is that when you bring up a contact in Nimble, it automatically unifies all that information and essentially places it all in the palm of your hand. So if I go into here and I look up somebody's record in Nimble, it automatically prepares me for every meeting I'm having. So it gives me that rich record. And then when I drill into that record, it gives me all that rich background information. But I think the coolest thing is this. We talked about how most businesses work as islands between the departments: sales, marketing, customer service, accounting, social, whatever. Imagine if you had a unified system of record that was always up to date with who somebody is, what their business is about, and the history of interactions. And then it worked back inside of all the applications that you worked in. So if I bring up your record in QuickBooks, if I bring it up in MailChimp, if I bring it up in G Suite or Office, I have the contacts and insights, but most importantly, the ability to take action. Because I think that's where we all fail as business people, is we don't follow up and follow through. And that is because we have to go to our contact tool or our CRM to log that call and schedule that next task. I believe the future of relationship management is a CRM that works for you by building itself and always keeping itself up to date, and then works with you everywhere, providing you the context and insights you need and the ability to take action and follow up and follow through anywhere as you are, all your business apps and on your phone. And that's what we built with Nimble.
Right. No, and I do have employees now, John, Erica being one of them, who frequently follows up on prospects for me. And I'll tell you, it's been so nice that I can go into a contact and see all the correspondence, including the correspondence that she's had with them. So I don't sound like an idiot by reaching out to them and asking them questions or talking to them about things that they've already talked with her about. It's so nice. And I think, well, I shouldn't say I think. I know that I've done a bunch of videos for people here on Nimble and shown this feature, but I think we should show it again anyway, just to show people an example of what you and I are talking about, John, because I'm sure there are going to be some people who can't operating later.
You know, give me the screen and I'll walk you through what we're talking about.
Yeah, click. If you move your mouse over where you're seeing all of our lovely mugs, you'll see that green share screen button, and you can show your screen.
Perfect. Okay. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, I see Nimble Start Your CRM for Office 365 and G Suite.
Perfect. So whether you're using G Suite or Gmail, or you're using Office 365, contacts are critical to your business success. And so the first thing you do as a business these days is you get a domain. Ideally, you get a good domain that people can spell. Then you set up a WordPress site. In the old days, you bought POP or IMAP as your email, and you essentially used Outlook. But today, we're living in the cloud, and you're choosing Gmail or G Suite or Office. And I think the biggest problem with contact management today is that contacts aren't linked to email, and they're not linked to calendar. What I mean by that is when you go to our contact record, you don't have the history of interactions that you and the team have had, and that's a problem. And I know a thing or two about this because I actually invented contact management and CRM before Outlook or Salesforce existed. And I got back in the business because when I started to use social media, I saw it was going to change the way we work, play, buy, and sell. And I started to use social to build relationships and communicate with people. And I found that it was extremely powerful, but I wanted to tie these conversations that I was having with these people to their contacts or somehow manage it. And I started to use Hootsuite and other tools to unify my conversations. But again, if Rich Bone is talking to me or about me, I want to know the last time I spoke to Rich Bone and who he is, etc. And so we built this platform called Nimble, and what it does is it will automatically unify all of your communications and contacts from all the disparate places they are, including email, calendar, social, etc. In fact, we now synchronize with over 100 of the SaaS business apps. So no matter what you're using, Nimble can bring in all your contacts from all those places. And then when we put a contact in Nimble, Nimble automatically maps out who this person is and brings the data down. So we just don't put the icons over here, but we actually build a social card and keep it up to date. And then we build a digital dossier that tells you who somebody is and where they're from, who their significant other is, what they're influential in, which is like an auto tag that you can use for segmentation, for outreach, and the history of interactions that you and the team have had on email, calendar, and social. And then we let you use that contact record back wherever you work. So if I'm opening up an email and Jessica has communicated with me, I know who Jessica is. I know her background, and I can go and see the history of communications that my team and I have had. I can go ahead and see what she said about me and the brand on social, and I can see what she's saying to the world and operate on all that. But most importantly, I can follow up and follow through. And I think John Wooden says it best. It's the basics that wins games. And we fail at the basics because when you're reading an email or you're communicating in social, it typically requires you to do something else. That something else might be send them something, ask a team member to do something, or communicate with them on some other channel. And you can't do that because you have to go to your CRM to do that. Or you have to go back to your contact tool, which doesn't really have those capabilities. And so Nimble gives you context and insights everywhere you're working, not just in email, but also in social as well. So we have this plugin into your browser, and what it does is it will automatically bring up a record on a person or build a record automatically for whoever's interacting with you. So if Alice Hyman is communicating or talking about me, I look over here on the right, this is a live profile. And what it does is it automatically gives me her background and enables me to build this beautiful record for her on the fly. And then I can have this record where I'm fishing this conversation out of this stream in Twitter. And now I have this beautiful record that I can continue that relationship with. And this works in any place you're working. So essentially, I take it with me everywhere I go. And this is my golden Rolodex. It works with me everywhere. And let's say I don't know somebody. So let's say I'm trying to get a hold of Joffrey at Microsoft, and I want to build a record for him. And this is what you were talking about before, is the prospector. And so all you have to do is you hover on the URL like I did right there. See the URL right here, Seth?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And then Nimble will essentially begin to build the record. I confirm that, yes, that's his Twitter. It's built this beautiful record for him. And now I can search for his contact info. And as long as you give Nimble the first name, last name, company, domain name, Nimble will then give you their email, their address, their mobile phone number, all that information automatically on the fly. And now I have his contact info that I can determine how I might outreach to Jeffrey. And I have the tools to do it, because not only do I have his contact info, but I have his background, not just his persona on LinkedIn, but his persona across all these different places, which is going to give me the context and insights that I need to be able to effectively connect with him on some areas of commonality. And this essentially will work and do the same thing, not just in G Suite, but also inside of Office 365. So if I'm opening up an email, I have context and insights in there. I can have context and insights in my calendar in Office 365. And I can even do it with inside the contacts as well, but not just inside an email, calendar, and social. But let's say that I'm working inside of a business app and I'm sending an invoice to Seth David. Well, instead of just looking at a basic record for Seth, I have the complete rich record of Nimble. And that works across any of the places that you may be working. And I think that's why people really love what Nimble does, is it basically gives you context and insights everywhere you're working.
Yeah, and just to be clear, especially for this crowd that we have today, so if you're in QuickBooks Online and you pull up a customer record and you're in Chrome accessing QuickBooks Online, you can pull up your Nimble widget and you can hover your mouse over that customer's name or email, and it will pull up the same thing on the right while you're in QuickBooks Online working. So a lot of people ask, well, does it integrate with QuickBooks Online? And my answer to them is it doesn't have to. It's built so well because of this feature specifically that it's as though it is integrated, because wherever screen you're on, you can just pull it up right here on the right.
And Seth, I really believe that there is a gold mine, excuse the pun. Hang on a second. Let me move these cameras over here, because when I talk, I like to see people, and the camera was over on the other monitor. There's a gold mine inside of your accounting system. It's easier to sell to somebody that you've already sold to. It's easier to get referrals from people that you've earned their trust, and people ignore the people they've sold to. Imagine if you import in all of your QuickBooks contacts into Nimble, and Nimble will then enrich them with people and company data, just like you see here for Satya Nadella. By the way, I adore that man. I think that he is an amazing, empathetic leader. And if you haven't read his book, read his book. But it will enrich it with all that people and company data that enables you to then segment and outreach to your customers at scale. And so what Nimble does is Nimble enables you to build segmentation and do one-to-many emails, just like this email that you see here.
Yes,
where I went to go and speak at a Microsoft conference, and I basically imported a Twitter list of the previous year's influencers for that conference, 3,500 people. I segmented it based off of a shared area commonality, social sales and marketing, and then I outreached to 200 of them. Seth, I got a 50% open rate.
Yeah.
Now, that is outrageous. You don't get that anywhere. It's not even if it's a list you're sending to of your own people you sold to. And I scheduled 25 meetings, resulted in Microsoft signing a deal to resell Nimble worldwide through its resellers, bundled with Office 365.
Amazing.
And so imagine if everybody listening to this today signed up for Nimble today, imported their contacts. It's 2 weeks free. You can import your contacts from all your places, QuickBooks, MailChimp, even if you have an existing CRM. So basically, Nimble will work with any CRM that you happen to be using, and then we'll bring those records all together, enrich it with people and company data, and then you can outreach to them. If you outreach to the people you sold to in the past and asked for additional business or for referrals, you're going to get that. And that's a gold mine. And people are ignoring that today.
Yep. One of my favorite things to do, John, I have a segment in my Nimble account where people are, of course, tagged as clients, or as prospects. And so I can pull up a segment that shows all the people tagged as prospect, and then I sort it by last contacted. And then I just send a bulk email. And just to be clear, people, this isn't a true bulk email. It's actually sending individual emails to each of them. And I just a simple light touch. And I use Nimble Templates all the time. John, I can't tell you how much time the Nimble Templates have saved me because they're integrated directly into my Gmail, where if I get an inquiry from somebody, I can just bang up that Nimble template. I tweak some of the language slightly and hit send, because it's basically the same basic response I'm going to send to most of the inquiries that come in, where people essentially are asking questions that surround needing one-on-one help from me or consulting. But
let's talk about segments for a second.
Yeah.
So when you put a name in Nimble, Nimble will automatically enrich that person with people and company data, including their areas of influence, which is like an auto tag. So if I were to go to, let's just say Satya is influential in cloud technology, AI, CEO, etc. And so I'm going to show you how I prepare before I go to our conference. In fact, I virtually attend conferences without even being there. So you guys have all heard about the QuickBooks Connect conference, right?
Yeah, I've spoken there a couple of times. I hope I heard of it.
Okay, great. And so let's say that I go and I have these Twitter lists that I've imported in before. And for those that you don't know about a Twitter list, you can find Twitter lists on anybody out there. And so I'm going to bring up your record here in Twitter.
Yeah, search Nerd Enterprises. You'll find me faster that way on Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
But that's good to note. I should make sure that my personal name gets in there.
Yeah, I think that you need to build your company brand and your personal brand. So here is a list of lists that you basically create, right? So here's a list of speakers for QuickBooks Connect 2015. And by the way, if you go to somebody's record, the Twitter lists that they create are important, but even more important than the list that you create are the lists that people put you on, because that is third-party recognitions of your areas of influence. And so you want to look at both, what lists they create or subscribe to and what lists that people put them on. And so let's say that I wanted to add to my QuickBooks Connect people or even QuickBooks influencers. I could take the members of this list and I could import them to Nimble. And when you import that list into Nimble, Nimble automatically enriches those contacts with people and company data, so that essentially it takes that one-dimensional record and makes it a three-dimensional record with all that beautiful data. And so that's how I build these lists, okay? Then I go into Nimble and I select those Twitter lists, and now I'm going to sort it on last contact date, because contact, connection, communication is a key attribute of relationship. And now I can see the people that I've been connecting with, including people like Seth David and Brandon Morris, etc. And now I'm going to sort it on the areas of interest or influence. This is automatically attributed to people based off what you say and what you do in social. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find people that are interested in, let's just say, social media marketing. Okay, I'm just going to build that list. Okay, this is a problem. So I'm going to delete these two, because what it did is it added to that list. I don't want it to say add to that list. I want to say anybody in this list and they match one of these criteria. So let's go back and do that again. So social media marketing. So matches any. So it's either one of these and any one of these. I've got 158 people now. So what I could do is I could take this group of people and I could send them a group message, and the email comes from my email. It comes from John at Nimble, not from MailChimp at serverxyz.com. And now I can go ahead and outreach to these people. So imagine if I wanted to reconnect with people of a certain attribute, I can send them a personal email like this. Hey, I hope your day is going great. I'd love to reconnect to find ways where we might add value to each other. What's your schedule look like next week, right? That's a personal outreach, and you're going to get incredible results, especially if you segment based off some areas of shared commonality and you address that in the email. And essentially, that's what Nimble's done. And I think it's one of the reasons why we're not only a market leader in CRM, but we're also a market leader in sales intelligence. And you really need a blend of tools to have a good relationship platform. And I think that that blend is CRM, sales intelligence, and sales enablement email tracking. So the ability to build templates and outreach. And soon we'll add some market automation capabilities into Nimble, and it'll be the trifecta. And I think that one of the big problems with tools today is that you have to use too many tools in order to build your social sales and marketing technology tech stack. And for the people listening to this today, not only can't they afford the cost and complexity of $800 per rep for all these tools, but even if they bought them, the sales reps can't use all those tools. And we need something simple. And that's essentially what we built with Nimble, is that blend of simple social sales and marketing. And I think that's why we lead the value and ROI grid in places like GT Crowd.
Right. I know that, going back to what you're saying before, John, about using our accounting software in tandem with Nimble, I know that one thing I would love to be able to do, and I think you and I talked about this a while back, so I'm wondering if this is sort of on your roadmap with Nimble, is the ability to, let's say, be able to segment my customer list insofar as whom haven't I sent a bill to in a month or 3 months or 6 months? Whom haven't I had revenue coming in from? So I can group the people, not the people I haven't heard from in 6 years, but maybe the people that I've talked to within the last year, but not within the last 3 months. So I can segment those people and send them some kind of a touch saying, hey, it's been a little while since we've heard from you.
I love that. So that is why I have relationships with thought leaders like you, is because you can bring up use cases that can help drive development. But let's talk about that for a second. Mm-hmm. So I assume that there's a way to build that segment, that kind of segment in QuickBooks, right?
Yeah, there's a report I can run for sure that would show me sales by customer, and I can total it by month, what have you. Yeah.
Great. Can you take that report and export a CSV, a comma separated value text file with their email and contact stuff into a file, an exported file?
So because of the QuickBooks database structure, I would have to run 2 reports, because one would show me by customer sales and totaled by month so I can see when they stop, and then a separate report with their contact details, and then a quick VLOOKUP to pull in their email address alongside their name in that sales summary. So yeah, it could be done with a couple of steps.
Can you write a macro in QuickBooks that does that so that you could actually deliver that as a solution to customers so that they don't have to pull their hair out to figure that out?
No, but you know what I bet you I could do is I could probably use Zapier to run something that would tell me. I'd have to figure out how to do this, because Zapier, as you well know, I think you use PySync a lot, functions on a trigger of some sort. So maybe I can create a Zap that triggers based on when an invoice is sent to a client, and then put in a delay. And I'm sure I can build something with Zapier that can do it. It might, again,
or if this and that, right?
Yeah, same idea as Zapier. Yep.
Okay, but isn't there a field in the contact record in the customer details that has that data?
Not directly, no. You mean the last time they were invoiced? I mean, if you go to transaction list, you would see all the transactions you've had with me. So it would show you there all the invoices or sales receipts, or however you might bill me.
Okay, so here's the deal. Back in the Goldmine days, what we did is we had a capability to have 10 key fields from the accounting program and have it inside a Goldmine for search and segmentation. And so what it sounds like is that field doesn't exist in QuickBooks, right? Like the last invoice date. Is that what we're looking at?
Ideally, that would be the trigger, because we'd say if that last invoice date goes beyond, let's say, 3 months, then I want to make sure I send something that tries to pull them back in.
Or also a past due date, right?
Certainly a past due date for collection purposes to say, hey, when are you going to pay this? Yep.
But the problem is that field doesn't exist. Even if I wanted to pull it from an API, I'd have to run a calculation in somehow in QuickBooks to derive it.
Yeah, because you would run it off the invoice date or the due date, depending which use case, and then a certain number of days from that date, a proximity.
Okay, so here's the challenge. We're going to do a blog post collectively together.
I love it.
Right?
Okay.
And we're going to get it published on the QuickBooks blog.
Oh, I can get it on Firm of the Future easily. Yep. Well,
Okay.
yeah, my thought is to try and build this with Zapier somehow, because Zapier has a nice function where you can start a trigger and then create a delay and say, wait 30 days. So I can have a trigger based on an invoice going out and then put in a filter that says, now wait 30 days. And then I can put in another filter that says, check, has there been another invoice? I'm sure there's ways we can do this.
And then you could tag the Nimble contact record based on
I
that
already
trigger.
use Zapier with Nimble all the time because I have, for example, every time every time a guest like yourself now signs up to be a guest on this very sort of show,
Yeah.
I actually will have them added to Nimble. And I know that in some cases I'm going to wind up with duplicates because obviously, for example, you're already there, but I know that it's also very easy to run a quick check and merge duplicates in Nimble.
Great. So let's do that. Let's put together this blog post and tell a great story, because I think that it's those kind of use cases that really make it digestible for people, because they could take that away and start doing that.
Definitely. I love that. If nothing else, I love that this will come out of today's show. That's brilliant.
Awesome. So what else can we share with the people today that can make them make this session impactful?
So one thing I know that always has an impact when I'm showing Nimble to people is you've gone in, like go into my record in your Nimble account. This way we're not sharing anything sort of confidential. Like I know I'm not worried about what you show on my profile. Show everybody the pending and history, because I think this is critical that no other CRM has out there. Because for everybody else, this is what John and I are talking about, where look what it does. In one click now, you can see any calendar appointments that we've had together, as well as any emails we've sent, tweets that we've mentioned each other in, lunch with Seth he's got there. This is what we were talking about earlier, where it just takes all the correspondence we've had. If Erica were to send John an email, that would show up here, assuming I were copied on it. Right, that would show up here as well, so I could see what John and Eric.
Oh, no, you don't even have to be copied on it, because Nimble enables the entire team's communications across email.
No, I never thought about that. Check. Brilliant.
Based off the security settings of the user, right? And so, in my opinion, that in most companies, that security settings should be open so everybody can see each other's conversations. And have, one common history with all the clients.
Right. As long as you and I aren't, talking about Eric. No, I'm kidding. But no, this is, I think, what people, when you see this, right? I see you got my email about having a religious experience with Airtable. Speaking of, that's another thing that I'm integrating a lot with Nimble through Airtable. Airtable drives the sign-up form I have for new clients, which also adds them to Nimble or make sure I have them in there already as a contact.
Does Airtable integrate directly with Nimble, or you use Zapier to integrate it?
I use Zapier to integrate it. It probably could. Airtable is wide open. Have you had much experience with Airtable yourself yet?
No, I'll have to take a look at it.
You're gonna love this, John. It's Microsoft Access or FileMaker Pro meets Excel on steroids in the cloud. And they just recently got a ton of funding. It's an amazing product for database tracking, and you can really create your own software and database tool with Airtable.
Cool.
Amazing.
So one of the things I want to share is, yes, Nimble builds this beautiful record, maintains the history of interactions, but more importantly, it does that across all the places that you're working. So if I'm sitting here and I am on Seth's record here, when I bring up Nimble knows that I'm looking at Seth's record, and it will give me the history of interactions on email, calendar, and social right in that spot. And right. So here I am on your record, and what Nimble will do is it essentially will bring up that record and give me all of that information right here. So not only does it do it inside of Nimble, but it does it in any of the places that you're working. So if I'm sitting here inside of QuickBooks, I have the context and insights, but most importantly, I can take the action, because I may be inside of QuickBooks seeing that you haven't paid your invoice or that I haven't spoken to you in a while. And what I can do is I can then either schedule the task or even do the task right from here.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I often forget that I can see the messages themselves right in the sidebar there.
Yeah.
So another thing I love, and I don't know if there's a good person you can use as an example of this. This is a feature that I think you've added in within the past year. I remember being asked to sort of beta test it. Is let's say there's somebody that I know I would love to get in touch with, because I know that this person could refer me a ton of clients. I just need to get on their radar, right? So you showed us, for example, how to import the Twitter list. In fact, a couple of years ago, based on this, I actually was able to get Gene Marks to, tweet back to me and to add me as somebody that he's following, because you showed me how to use the Twitter import tool, which I used, and then I followed him and engaged with him, and eventually I got his attention. So let's say I wanted to get Gene Marks' phone number so I could make a call to him, but I don't have his phone number because I don't have his actual business card. Nimble had added in a feature within the past year that I'd love for everyone to see, where I think I have to use a certain number of credits or whatever it was, but I can actually have Nimble find me his phone number.
Sure. So let's take a look at this guy here. So this guy here is he's Mark Guberti, and let's build a record for him. So there it is, no, he's a Hootsuite ambassador. So let's pick on somebody. So I did show you this guy here earlier. So if I essentially go into here, and if I wanted to get Joffrey's email, let me just go ahead and just refresh this page. Okay, and I bring up the widget here. If I wanted to build a record for this guy here, well, he's already in there, so let's just delete him.
Yeah, it's the other thing. You don't have to worry about deleting contacts because it's very easy to reconstruct their record.
So what you need to do to build a record for somebody is you need their first name, last name, company domain name. So you just give it their first name, last name, domain name. And once you do that, Nimble will then go and search for their contact info and give you their email, their phone number, their address, etc. So it's literally that easy to do.
Yeah, notice everybody, he's using LinkedIn Sales Navigator as his sort of starting point to search for somebody.
But you don't need to do that either. So let's just go ahead and pick on somebody else here. So this guy Ninan Thampi. So
let's do Brad Smith. He's the CEO of Intuit. You may already have. Maybe you already have him, but maybe not.
Okay.
Let's say you want to get Brad Smith on the phone so you can have him help you build an integration with QuickBooks Online.
Not that Brad Smith.
Not that Brad Smith. Nope.
That's the trouble with common names.
That's funny.
So what I do when I'm starting this way, especially with common people's names, is I will do it like that.
Right.
And then I usually can figure out, where the people are. And then when Nimble knows where I'm at, and we'll go ahead and build a record for that person. But I don't have Brad's contact info. So now what I want to do is I want to search for his contact info. First name, last name, company, domain name. And there it is. Brad Smith.
Bingo.
It's that easy.
But wasn't there another feature I thought where you can say, hey, I don't have his phone number, and you can click, and I think you had to pay for it, but you could have Nimble search out for his phone number or something like that. Or am I?
Yeah, I just showed you that with it, and we don't have all the information on everybody, so
of course, right?
We did it, and so it really depends on the person. Gotcha. So this guy is you can see that he is the VP of Finance at Premium Labs. So if I say search for contact info, well, let's just go ahead and add him to Nimble. And I say search for contact info. I need to put in his company name.
Oh, so that is the feature. I've just never seen it used in the sidebar in the widget. So that's right. When you click search for contact info, then it's going to ask first, last, company, or domain. Sorry, I didn't realize that was the same feature.
Yeah, and so we won't always be able to give you the information. And what you need to do is you need the first name, last name, company domain in order to make it work. So this guy here has been working at Media Labs, and so now what we'll do is we'll go through here, and sometimes you need to delete some of these things so the Nimble can go ahead and search for the stuff, and there it is. So for some people we have a little bit of info, and some other people we have more.
Right. I'm assuming it just depends on what's available on the web, because you're obviously not like stalking people and getting information they don't want you to have. So
no, it's stuff that's publicly available.
Now, I think another good thing to show people would be the templates, because I referenced this earlier, where this is such a huge time saver for me, John. Because like I said, I frequently get essentially the same inquiry from people, where now what I do is right in my Gmail, I have the Nimble widget there, and I just literally choose from my list of templates and say, use this template, and it will automatically stick in their, first name. So I have the first name tag in there. So it'll say, hey, John. And then it has the generic language initially saying, yes, we can help you. Here's a link where you can go sign up for a one-on-one, or if you prefer to schedule a 30-minute call first, I give them my schedule once link. All that's built into the template. So most inquiries I get, I don't need to even task Erica with any of it. I pretty much just say, click, maybe adjust some of the language to make it more specific, to make them realize I did actually read their email and I am addressing what they wrote in their message specifically. So I might add in like one sentence and then send. It saves so much time.
So I believe that, again, it's the basics that win business. It's the follow-up and follow-through. If you get off the phone and say, I'm going to do something, you better do it. And it's best to do it right away. And so here is a template. And as you can see, there's merge tags where you can put in their name and company name, etc. But you can also attach files. So typically, if I'm sending an email, I'm going to attach a video or some other things, a PDF. In addition, you can put in links in here. And so maybe I'm going to link my calendar link or whatever. In addition, you can put links to websites. And any link that you put into Nimble here, you're going to get signals when they click the links or when they open the email. And you can CC and BCC people. All that will be in the template. So when you send that template, the attachments and everything will be right there. And to demonstrate this, what I want to do is I'm going to show you how I can do this on the mobile. So let me turn my mobile on. And let me know when you can see my iPhone.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, great. So with the iPhone, it's the same as on the desktop, is that I really believe that when I go into here and I see I'm going to have this meeting with Seth, well, who is Seth, right? So I don't have his background information. This calendar isn't connected to the contact. So when I go into a contact record, I don't know who Eddie is. And if I go into an email and I see I have an email from somebody, email, contacts, and calendars aren't linked. So essentially, when I go and I see an email from Yogesh, I don't know who Yogesh is. And so with Nimble, Nimble enables you to Nimble somebody anywhere. So all I have to do is say share contact, and I could do this from my calendar. I could do it from emails. I could do it from LinkedIn, anywhere. And Nimble will automatically build records on people on the fly, just like that. And so Nimble is embedded in your workflow, but you don't even have to do that for your calendar, because I can go into here, and if I look at my calendar, I can go ahead and see all of my appointments right here. And when I go and I look at my appointments, I have records for the people, and I can go ahead and see the history of interactions right there on my phone. So Nimble essentially gives you all that magic that we do in your browser on your phone, and you could even do all of the templated messaging things. So I'm going to send you a templated email, and live on the phone, I want you to open it, okay? So there it is. and I'm going to bring up a template, and I'm going to send you this one here. And now when I send it, what I want you to do is I want you to first open it, and then I want you to click one of the links inside of the email there.
All right, let me open up my email. And obviously this works the same on Android, right?
So on Android, we haven't built the templated messaging yet. It's getting built now.
Okay, so I've got your email up, and I have the screenshot, right? How to select contacts to send to group messages.
Okay, so you see that? You open the message.
Yep, I'm looking at the message.
And now go click any of the links, like anything that's blue, highlighted blue. Go look at my footer.
So please share your experience here. I'll click on that.
This is just a reminder that says the meeting's over, because the meeting was over 15 minutes ago, to remind me to log a note and stuff. But if you click a link, it'll give you the notification there. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
So essentially what Nimble's done is it puts your golden Rolodex in the palm of your hand, automatically builds a history of interaction and beautiful records on people and companies, and helps you to manage your follow-up and follow-through tasks that result in some type of pipeline of deals that you're working on. And so it doesn't matter if you're using Nimble on your phone, inside of our app, or inside of the places that you're working. Nimble basically works with you everywhere.
Right. John, I don't want to hold you hostage. One quick question, because I saw it was asked on the Facebook feed here. What about Nimble's security? Obviously, we're talking to accountants. They're concerned about clients' information. If they bring their clients' sensitive information and it's connected through Nimble, what is the security like with Nimble?
So Nimble has a full security system built into it, and you can control who has access to it, who can see what within the system, all the way down into the granularity of an individual message. So you have complete control over that.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. John, how do people reach you? Where do they go to take a trial of Nimble? Actually, they should go to my partner page, which is on the partners page at nerdenterprises.com. That way, John will know I sent you.
So if you want to get a hold of me, I'm john@nimble.com. It's my email. Or you can Google me. But more importantly, you should Nimble me.
Yeah, Nimble.
Just put me into your Nimble, and Nimble will automatically build a record for me. And you can connect with me on whatever account's most comfortable for you. And I want to share a parting message with you. Mm-hmm. I believe that people connect on the 5 F's of life: family, friend, food, fun, and fellowship. It isn't about your business persona that is going to build and maintain a connection with people. And so if you were to go to my LinkedIn resume, and I call it my resume because it's like walking in my business lobby, you're going to see my business background. But this isn't where we're going to connect and stay connected. Seth and I connect and communicate on a regular basis in Facebook. Yeah. Because this is where people connect on a regular basis and talk about what they're passionate about, including the business stuff. But if you want to connect with me on Instagram, because I think that a picture tells 1,000 words, and you're going to find out what I'm passionate about, which is the family, friend, food, fun, and fellowship that drives my life. And so you could learn about me and my passions and connect with me in areas of commonality. And so that's why we've integrated Instagram into Nimble as well. And I believe that a chair has at least 3 legs, if not 4 or 5, for a reason. If I just built a relationship on one leg, it's not enough. And so you need to take these connections and transform them from LinkedIn into Twitter, into Facebook, and ideally into Instagram at some point with some of the people. And some people might go, ooh, this is icky, right? It's like, it's like business should be kept in LinkedIn. But you know what? Go back 10 years, business people took people to their club, to the pub, and to their home, and to a baseball game on a regular basis. And that's what's required to build and nurture relationships.
John, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure talking with you, having you here. Sorry again for being late, having fallen asleep here. And I love the product. I love what you're doing. I was wondering why you're going to Washington so often. I figured you had something going on with Microsoft. So congratulations on the deal you got with them, reselling Nimble, through, what do you call it, through their Office 365 offering. That's amazing. Congratulations. You deserve the success. And I'm really proud to know you and call you a friend, John. I appreciate it.
Seth, I really appreciate you supporting our journey. And I want to just take a moment and reach out to any QuickBook professional today. I believe that QuickBook professionals are the trusted advisor of businesses. You are their consigliere, and you can help them grow. And smart accountants are not just helping people with accounting. They're helping them with the front office, the back office as well. And I believe that the key part of our front office are your contacts and the ability to nurture and the ability to drive results. So you should be offering not just accounting services, but ideally CRM, relationship management, contact management services as well. And my offer is any QuickBook professional listening today that wants to start using Nimble, contact us at care@nimble.com. Say you've heard about this on our podcast here today with Seth, and we'll put together a special offer to help you get started to practice the Nimble way for yourself, but more importantly, to start doing that for your customers, which will not only make your relationship with your customer more sticky, but you'll derive more revenue of products and services from that relationship as well. And the person that Seth mentioned earlier, Gene Marks, who happens to be one of the top thought leaders in accounting and CRM today, was a goldmine reseller back in the day. And that's how he got started in building his brand. So follow Gene Marks' footsteps, follow Seth David's footsteps, and join the Nimble team today.
Thanks, John. Real quick question, because I forgot to ask it. Greg was asking earlier in the chat. The search feature that we've demonstrated a couple times today, that's included in Nimble. You have so many, and then beyond a certain amount, you have to pay extra, or how does that work?
Yeah, so if you click Prospector here, you see that? Right here.
Yep.
If you click Prospector, it'll tell you about the prospecting feature, which essentially helps you to enrich people and company records in any of the places that you're working. And it tells you about the plans. So by default, you get a certain amount for free, and then you get more beyond that. And so you can add additional credits, but the enrichment costs as little as 10 cents per enrichment, which if you were to go and compare that to the cost of sales intelligence software out there today, you would spend a lot more money for sales intelligence tools. Nimble is a bargain.
Right. Yeah. And so, like I always tell people, start with the lowest plan until your needs reach the. If you're at the point where you need more, it's probably because it's working so well for you that you're getting all these new clients, so you can more than afford it. So that's great.
And so you get 25 credits per user per month. So if you have a 5-user system, everybody gets 25 enrichment credits. And then if you buy more, if you want more, you buy a bucket and they get spread across all the users.
And a credit is essentially one search, like one time searching somebody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's clear and straightforward. John, again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We'll have you back on again soon so I can make sure I show up on time.
Great. And, let's do another event at QuickBooks at a QuickBooks conference, and let's follow up on that blog idea. I think that I think there's actually a series that we can do. Right?
Yes,
that's just
no question.
one use case, right? If you're talking about reaching out to your existing customers for a retention or referral, then you could also talk about reaching out to collect money, and there's other ideas that we could develop as well.
Absolutely. I'll start working on a project right away, and I will definitely follow up because, as you well know, I love creating content, and this is perfect right up my alley. It's an amazing use case that will benefit everyone here for sure.
Michaela manages our blog, so make sure that you connect with her, and let's do that.
I will. Yep, I know who she is. I will make sure that I CC her on everything.
Adios, amigos.
All right. We'll talk to you
amigos.
soon. Thank you, everyone. I'll have this up on the site tomorrow.